Welcome back to World of Immersion. Today is the day that we're going to be counting down my top 25 roller coasters that I have ever ridden. Now, I haven't been to very many parks, but I have ridden just over 100 roller coasters, and I feel like my top 25 is pretty solid. Every single coaster in my top 25 is incredible, and I love each and every one of them. Just a disclaimer before this video starts, there are some parks that I've been to where I've not been able to ride all of the coasters. For example, at Six Flags Great Adventure when I went, both Jersey Devil and El Toro were unfortunately closed, so neither of those will be appearing on the list. Alright, with that out of the way, let's get right into the video. Starting off with number 25, we have Kingda Ka at Six Flags Great Adventure. Now, the tallest roller coaster and second fastest roller coaster in the world comes in 25th place on my top 25 coasters. It is a really forceful ride, and you do get some pretty good airtime over the top hat and that camelback after the top hat. But it is kind of rough, and I don't like the shoulder harnesses at all. If it had lap bars, it'd be a lot higher on the list. But still, that launch is so forceful, and the top hat is so much fun. And of course, it's the tallest coaster in the world, so the view on the top is incredible. But moving on, at number 24, we have Expedition Everest at Disney's Animal Kingdom. This is one of my favorite themed roller coasters of all time. It's also my favorite roller coaster in all of Walt Disney World. I really think it's incredible. That drop after the backward section is so good, and the backward section is really fun as well, with the twisting spiral downwards in the dark. It's so fun. The animatronic Yeti is kind of hard to see, but it still is really cool having that right above your head. And yeah, just the view you get from the top of the mountain is insane, and seriously one of the most picturesque coasters to ever look at. Coming in at number 23 is the Incredible Hulk at Islands of Adventure. Now, personally, I've not gotten to experience this ride before the retrack. However, I have ridden it multiple times since then, and it is so smooth. It seriously is one of the smoothest and intense coasters I've been on. That launch upwards into the twisting spiral is so much fun. And while the second half is a bit weaker, it still holds up really well. And I think what really makes this ride so good is the onboard audio. It has some of the best onboard audio out of any coaster I've been on, and it works perfectly every time. I seriously love this coaster so much, and I highly recommend it. Coming in at number 22 is going to be Raptor at Cedar Point. This is one of my favorite B&M inverts ever. It is super intense, has a fantastic layout, and even though it's one of the older coasters, it is still really smooth. I'm a huge fan of Raptor. I really like B&M inverts in general. However, there is one that comes in just above it. At number 21, we have Great Bear at Hershey Park. This is my personal favorite invert that I've ever been on. I haven't been on that many. I think I've only been on 5 or so. But Great Bear is by far my favorite. It is insanely smooth, has a fantastic layout. I love the helix before the drop. It gives you a nice turnaround view before you actually go down the drop. And yeah, such a fun layout. It's so cool having it right over the water at Hershey Park. And really just one of my favorite coasters at Hershey Park in general. But coming in at number 20 is another coaster at Hershey Park, and that's going to be Storm Runner. Now, even though this is shorter than Kingda Ka, I definitely prefer it. It is so much fun. I love how it's not just a one-trick pony. It's got that top hat in the launch, but then it's got some more inversions and elements following it. I really like this ride, but I wish it didn't have the over-the-shoulder harnesses. If it had lap bars, it'd be so much better. Next, coming in at number 19 is going to be the Joker at Six Flags Discovery Kingdom. Now, you'll notice there are a lot of RMCs in my top 25 because they are definitely my favorite type of coaster. However, I think the Joker is probably the weakest one that I've ridden. That being said, it is still an incredible coaster packed full of airtime and incredible hang time and inversions. It is definitely my favorite coaster at Six Flags Discovery Kingdom and one of my favorites in Northern California. Next, though, coming in at number 18 is going to be Tatsu at Six Flags Magic Mountain, the first of a few coasters for Magic Mountain to appear on this list. But yeah, I love Tatsu. It's by far my favorite flying coaster that I've been on. It's so intense, especially that pretzel loop. And yeah, you just get some of the best views ever since it's situated on top of a mountain. Seriously, such a fun and incredible ride, and I definitely recommend it to anybody that's visiting Magic Mountain. Next, coming in at number 17 is our first wooden coaster on the list, Gold Striker at California's Great America. Now, unfortunately, I don't know how much longer this coaster's got, with Great America closing in the next few years possibly. However, I really like this GCI. It is an incredible ride. It's got tons of airtime, and it's just really forceful. It's one of my favorite wooden coasters ever. However, it's not my personal favorite. We've got a few more wooden coasters coming up on this list. Next, coming in at number 16 is going to be another RMC, and that is Twisted Cyclone at Six Flags Over Georgia. This ride may be short, but it really packs a punch. That first drop is really fun, and it's got some of the most unique inversions on an RMC. And that wave turn is such a fun part of the ride. Really an underrated RMC, but like I said, there's still a few more RMCs coming up on this list. And next at number 15 is going to be Nitro at Six Flags Great Adventure. This is one of my favorite hypercoasters I've been on. It has tons of floater airtime, and it's super intense with that helix. This was my personal favorite ride at Great Adventure when I went because El Toro was closed. But yeah, just really like this ride a lot, and I love airtime. You'll notice that in my top 15 coming up. But coming in at number 14 is going to be Top Thrill Dragster at Cedar Point, what I consider to be the better version of the two Strata coasters. Top Thrill Dragster, while it doesn't have the camelback, it has lap bars, and that really makes a difference. Currently, it's been closed for almost a year. However, I really hope it opens soon because this ride is such an incredible ride. And I do have hope for it to open in the future. Next, coming in at number 13 is another coaster from Cedar Point, and that's Magnum XL200. This is one of the most underrated rides in my opinion. The finale is incredible with such strong, sustained airtime over and over again on those final bunny hills. Even the first half is super fun. It's really smooth in the first half and has some great floater hills. The only part that I'm not a huge fan of is the turnaround, but I can look past that and look at the other parts of the ride and see how incredible of a ride it is. Next at number 12 is going to be another hyper coaster, and that is Goliath at Six Flags Over Georgia, my personal favorite B&M hyper that I've been on. I think it has an incredible first drop and such a good layout for a B&M hyper that it just beats out Nitro for me. It's got tons of really good floater airtime and such intense helixes too, that this ride is just so incredible. It's my personal favorite ride at Six Flags Over Georgia, and I hope to experience it again soon. Just missing the top 10 is going to be number 11 with Railblazer at California's Great America, my favorite coaster in Northern California. Here we got another RMC coaster, and this ride is incredible. It has some of the strongest airtime ever, and while it's a short ride, it is so intense. The inversions are whippy and the airtime is so strong, and even though it's a short train, it still manages to pull you over that first drop so insanely fast, especially if you're in the back row, leading to one of the strongest moments of ejector airtime I've ever experienced. Alright, now we've gotten into the top 10, and these rides I would all say are S-tier incredible attractions that you need to experience in your life. But coming in at number 10 is going to be Millennium Force at Cedar Point, currently the only Giga coaster that I've been on. And I am a huge fan of this ride. I think it is incredible. Situated alongside Lake Erie, it's got some of the best views ever, and at the top it can be super windy, which adds to the experience even more. That first drop, if you're sitting in the back row, is so insane. It's got some of the best floater airtime of all time. And yeah, while the layout is sort of boring, you really just feel the speed on this ride. It's probably one of the best rides to just feel speed. Some of the elements are not great, but some of the other ones can be really fun, such as the giant floater airtime hills that provide insane floater. But coming in at number 9 is going to be Hagrid's Magical Creatures Motorbike Adventure at Islands of Adventure, the longest name for a ride in existence. This ride, while it might not be the most intense or have the best airtime, it has some of the best theming and is one of the longest coasters I've ever been on. You can tell that they spent a huge budget on this ride because it's got some of the best effects and some of the best theming on a coaster I have ever seen. There are so many hidden surprises on this ride that I won't spoil, but you just really need to go out and experience this ride for yourself. It is truly an incredible attraction. Coming in at number 8 is X2 at Six Flags Magic Mountain. This is an insane coaster. While it may not be the smoothest, it is so insanely intense and so out of control, you never know what's going to happen next. And you just need to experience it. It's unlike anything else in North America. I personally love this ride, even though it is on the shorter side and that last Raven turn is super painful. The rest of the ride makes up for it, and it is just so incredible. It is a truly insane experience that you need to experience at least once. But coming in at number 7 is the newest ride at Magic Mountain, Wonder Woman Flight of Courage. Now, I actually think this ride is underrated. Many people are saying it's not as intense, doesn't have as good airtime as Railblazer or some of the other Raptors, but I actually disagree. Yes, if you ride in the front couple rows, it's not that intense and the airtime is not as strong, but if you ride in the back row, because of how long the train is, you get flung over the first drop if you're in the back row, and those airtime hills can be insane. The inversions and the stall are also so much fun. This ride is insanely smooth and has some of the best airtime and inversions I've ever experienced on a coaster, in my opinion. But next, coming in at number 6 is going to be Sky Rush, my favorite coaster at Hershey Park. Yes, the restraints suck, and yes, they crush your thighs, but this ride is so incredible. The airtime is some of the strongest airtime I have ever experienced on a coaster in my life. It is so intense and full of insane airtime that this ride just had to make the list. Alright, we've gotten to my top 5. Coming in at number 5 is my favorite wooden coaster of all time, Ghost Rider at Knott's Berry Farm. I love this ride so much. It is one of the longest coasters I've experienced, and if you sit in the back row at night, it is probably my favorite experience on a coaster ever. It's pitch black and it's got some of the best airtime, especially that drop off the mid-course. The second half of the ride is pure insanity, especially at night when you cannot see at all where you're going. It is such a fun ride, and I would definitely recommend it to anybody visiting Southern California. Next at number 4 is Maverick at Cedar Point. I have experienced this ride multiple times, and I can truly say it is one of the most perfect coasters out there. I really have no flaws with it except for maybe the over-the-shoulder harnesses, which kind of do suck. But other than that, it is a really fun ride. It's got some really great launches and some really strong airtime, and great inversions as well. That one airtime hill in the second half of the ride is incredible. And yeah, that beyond vertical drop too, it just got everything on this ride. But it just barely misses my top 3. And at number 3, we have Twisted Colossus at Six Flags Magic Mountain, my favorite coaster at my home park, and also the roller coaster I've ridden more than any coaster on the planet. I love this ride so much. I've ridden it so many times. I don't think I've been to Magic Mountain and not ridden it when it's open. It just is so incredible. It's such a long ride, and the fact that you get to go on both sides just makes it even better. Riding in the back row is unlike any other experience, especially when you get a racing ride. It is such a good ride, but it's not my favorite RMC. And coming in at number 2 is Steel Vengeance at Cedar Point, one of the best coasters on the planet. It is such an incredible coaster by Rocky Mountain Construction. It has the most airtime out of any coaster on the planet, and it's just such an incredible ride. It is really the perfect coaster. It has so much airtime. The first drop is incredible. That outwards banked hill is also insane. And it's just such a long ride. It keeps going. It doesn't stop. It does not let up. And it's got so much airtime. 27 seconds of airtime. That's so much more than any other coaster on the planet. It is so much fun, and I really, really recommend this ride to anybody. However, it does not make my number 1 spot. My number 1 spot goes to Velocicoaster at Islands of Adventure, my personal favorite roller coaster of all time. Now, this ride opened in 2021, and I got to experience it just a few months after it opened, and I personally loved this ride. I only got to ride it 3 times, however, I'm going back soon and cannot wait to ride this ride more times. It is seriously the perfect coaster. It is buttery smooth, it has some of the best airtime ever on the top hat, and then the Mosasaurus roll is probably my favorite inversion out of any coaster ever. Plus, on top of that, it has incredible theming, and the queue is so much fun to wait in because there's so much to look at and so many cool hidden details. Plus, it's got animatronic dinosaurs in the queue. The operations are quick, so the line always moves fast. They're always running 4 trains on this ride, and it's such a long ride too. I seriously have no flaws with this coaster, and that's why it makes my number 1 spot, and I really feel like it's going to stay my number 1 for quite a while. But that's it for my top 25 roller coasters. I want you to comment down below what you think of my top 25, and comment your 25 as well. Next year, I'll be getting to a bunch of new parks, so hopefully my top 25 will change up a bit. But that's it for now. I know I haven't been to a ton of parks, so my top 25 is not going to look the same as a lot of other people's, but be sure to comment down below. And comment if you've been on any of these rides and what you think of them. Be sure to check out our other videos on the channel. I would greatly appreciate a subscription or a like. But thank you so much for watching, and thank you so much for tuning in to World of Immersion. We'll see you next time.